Hello. So this is Dion. I have been a software developer for about 20 years now, I guess. I started really simple, making scripts for Excel. It was with VBA, and then drag and dropping those forms, and you know how it goes. Maybe you know how it goes. At least I do. And well, long story short, that got out of hand, and I've been a developer ever since. Now I'm making a relatively complicated piece of software, and of course, meanwhile, everything changed, and now we are all using AI for development. And I have some interesting issues with it. So, on the one hand, I understand that it's useful for some things. I mean, let me just share you something with you something that I've been doing. This is my software. I'm working on this. It's a no-code agent builder framework. I won't go into details on the software itself, but because there are other videos on my channel that go into it much deeper. But this is about me getting accustomed to using Claude Code, for example. For example, that's what I'm doing right now. Because a couple of months ago, I tried Cursor, and I didn't really like it. It was not up to speed in regards of, I thought it was way too eager in making changes and making too many changes. But that could also just be me. You know, I'm not saying that Cursor is worse than Claude Code or anything. I simply don't know. But what I do know is that I liked it better when I started using Claude Code, and it kind of stuck with me. But then again, I do feel that there are some issues with it, and those issues are not so much in the quality of what it does. I mean, I think sometimes it does super great work. Other times it's just completely frustrating. But then that is also because of me, because I am not clear enough with it. But that has a reason. So first, let me show you some of the stuff that I did just to test Cloud Code, because it's, those features, I would have never integrated them if it wasn't for me just to test the system, to test the vibe coding, the agent assistant. But for example, this mini-map here, it's quite interesting, right? We have a mini-map, and you can see that it shows a very simplified version of the node. And you can zoom out and you can zoom in, and then you see where the screen is supposed to be, which works really, really nice. And as I said, I was doing this just to try out Cloud Code, and it got this done pretty quickly. So I was very, very impressed, of course. Another thing that I did with it was this draw system. Again, makes no sense to put that in such an early version, but to test the system, it's pretty cool. Somehow it gives me an error right now, but whatever. So I can, draw arrows and even have different colors. And again, I got that going pretty quickly. It was quite nice, pretty impressive as well. So that gave me enough trust to continue using it for the core features of the application. And that is where it gets much more difficult. And that is not just due to Cloud Code, that's also because of the way that I'm treating it. I think the main thing is what I'm experiencing when using an agent to work for me more and more, is that I feel more and more distance between me and my application in a way that I never really had before. So where I was quite dependent, and I always told that to people, I'm relatively dependent on my flow state. So when I start coding, if I feel like it or not feel like it, doesn't matter. I have to get through a certain point, and then I'm in a flow state, just solving some problem, and I'm just one with the application, so to speak. So I'm just, moving back and forth, trying things, breaking things, fixing it, trying it again, writing a test, and everything is just in the same flow. With vibe coding, I never reach that flow. In fact, I get quite frustrated with the system. I would rather tell the system that it's a fucking asshole and then fix my shit before I'm looking into the code myself and trying to fix it, because I kind of don't feel like it. And that is not that great, to be honest. So again, it's not just it's not a Claude Code problem per se, right? I mean, it's also me trying to work with the application. But for example, when I was building this part here, so if I run this nonsensical test setup that I have here, so just to give you some context, what this does is this is a route. And if I'm calling the route with this test node, then it will go to, then it will execute this. We'll do 10 plus 10 is 20. So I'm expecting to have 20 in the body. Clicking this play button, and then we have run number 6, and then I have the response, and then I can see what body is 20. Great. Now, this whole thing here with the history, especially the history, I tried to vibe code. And at some point today, I saw that I mean, I did it, or at least I said that it can do it. I saw that it was, you know, the response comes in, and then I saw that it was posting the entire historic response from the front end back to the API again, and then storing that result. And that was the way that it was displaying the information here to the right. That makes 0 sense at all, because I have the data already, because this data is created during the run of this flow. Now, the point that I'm trying to make is that I approved that change, but it says something about my mindset during the vibe coding. I'm just, you know, I'm kind of trusting it to be okay. And then at some point it works, and then I don't really look at it anymore. I mean, yeah, I really have to find a better way to work with it, because like this, it just doesn't really work for me. The connection between me and the code is just way too big. And I also wonder, honestly, if it's providing me the time benefit that it should have that way. So I'm wondering, am I just the only one that has this issue, or do you also feel it? Or how do you treat it? So how do you get into the flow state with while using agents to write software? That's what I'm wondering about. So if you have more, not if you have more, what I'm not talking about, you know, this whole YouTube thing is new to me, so I'm trying to find a way. I guess I should say like and subscribe to my channel, because that way I will be seen more. Thank you for listening, and hopefully I'll see you next time. But I am curious about the answer to this question, because I'm really struggling with it. I hope I can get some very interesting insights. Thank you.